What I really want to close with is stories of success and failures in your hackerspaces. So everyone on the panel just give a short story of what is a great success and maybe a failure story in your hackerspace. Bree.
It's it's interesting. One of the ways that things get done in our space is we do vote actually kind of a lot, but it's always it seems to be in favor. Kind of the way that things get done is by people proposing a plan and then everybody supports it, and we vote in binary. So somebody says, I really want to do this, and everybody kind of around the room goes 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And we really, there's only been I don't even know what the examples are when it hasn't worked. Maybe somebody said 0 and brought up concern before something got forwarded. But the idea is, like, if somebody brings something up, they want something to happen and they've got a plan, it generally goes forward and gets lots of support. One of the things that I'm really pleased and excited about is this year we got a laser, which is a $20,000 laser cutter that you can put in, fire the laser is what we say every time we push it. And it's a laser cutter, and we make anybody who comes and wants to laser cut something, they have to push the button, they have to say fire the laser. And it's really interesting. A lot of people will be like, fire the laser? And then the rest of the people in the room will be like, that's not enthusiastic enough. And so we all end up sounding like pirates. The way we did it was interesting. We had a little committee. We had the laser guidance committee, which met and came up with this plan. We had this plan that was very very maybe communistic. We were all going to put in the number of members, the cost of the laser divided by the number of members and by the laser, and then we would have it, and everybody could use it free of charge, and it would be ours, and it would be endless fun. And we presented this, and it met with immediate resistance. Everybody was like, no. That's the communist approach. We want the capitalist approach. And basically it turned into anybody who wanted to put in $500 or $1,000 could be on the new laser committee, and we would get a laser, and the people who put the money in would be they would get a little bit of a cheaper discount on it, but we all pay to use the laser to pay ourselves back eventually. And it's basically the same plan, except that it's a little bit more it required more responsibility from people. I'm getting glares from my community members here for some reason, and
it's very neoliberal
from the communists, of course. So it was one of those things where there were a number of people who just, we put this idea that we wanted to have a laser together, and a number of people said, I have no reason to have a laser in this space. There's no reason why I would ever use this. And of course, but they also said, there's no reason I want this, but there's so many people interested in it, I'm willing to lay down some money just because I'm curious what's going to happen. And it's turned out really well. It's really fun. Literally, when you get a laser, it's 12 inches by 24 inches, and everything you see gets divided into things that will fit in the laser and what won't.
You mean I got to follow up that? I think our greatest success is just is this okay? Our greatest success is that we just that we continue to grow and be around and keep expanding. I mean, I can't, there's so many things that come to mind. I can't just focus and single out one particular thing. The fact that there are people that believe in the concept of it, that there are people who believe in keeping it open. We just opened up our workshop. Downstairs, we acquired another space in the facility that we're in. We keep accumulating members all the time. Some of them show up maybe 2 or 3 times a month. Some of them are there every single day. I think our greatest success is just that we really continue to exist and continue to grow and continue to go to places and conferences like these and continue to inspire people both inside our community and continue to inspire people in other places to build their own hackerspaces. And as far as failure, I know when I'm talking with people in my hackerspace, I constantly think that everything is failing, that this thing didn't work right, that thing didn't work right. We're having an issue right now with, now that we have our workshop, we're reconfiguring our main space to make it a little bit more electronics focused. Right now we do everything from major wood construction to very fine disassembly of certain certain printers and VCRs and different things like that, things that are approaching the end of their life cycle, to very, very small, fine electronics work, and we want to refocus and repurpose our main space. But as far as our greatest failure, I would probably just have to say that NYC Resistor beat us to having a laser, and that's basically it. Oh, okay, no, actually, you're right. That was our greatest. That actually is an issue that now came up. I got an email about that. HackDC is actually in an Episcopal church in Washington, D.C. There are many different community organizations that are a part of that church. We're not members of the church itself. We use a room, or actually two rooms in their facility, and other community organizations use rooms in their facility. We have access to their auditorium, their dining room, and they even let us use the sanctuary for our... Yes, actually, they let us use the sanctuary for parties. And I don't necessarily want to call this a failure, but so Johannes over there, who fortunately reminded me of this, because all of the other rooms where we're at were in use on the day during our grand opening ceremonies when we invited Johannes and Monochrome to come in and just do a brief presentation or do a nice presentation. I told Johannes, look, we're going to be in the sanctuary. It's a big room. It's also the church where they have their religious ceremonies and mass and things like that.
It freaked me out.
And so he said, "Oh, that sounds good." And I could tell over email that he was a little bit too excited about that. And so I'm sitting there, I'm enjoying his presentation, Kiki and Boo Boo and all of that. I love Kiki and Boo Boo, by the way. And so out of nowhere, he unfurls this banner that says, I think 2008, the year of polytheism, right in front of the altar, and has that banner in perfect frame shot.
The number of the beast is one. Yes.
Huh?
The number of the beast is one.
Yeah. And so, actually, it was just a couple of days ago, I was in Germany, and I got an email from the church coordinator who found the pictures of that ceremony on the internet, and he was like, "Yeah, Nick, what was up with this?" And I was like, "Man, those people from Vienna, but it was okay.
Maybe we could go a bit quicker because we're running out of time.
So, I think our biggest success, and that may sound silly, but was to open, actually, the TempLab hackerspace. Because, as you may not know now, French Interior Ministry started a fake Chaos Computer Club, the CCCF, the Chaos Computer Club of France, 15 years ago, or 15 years ago. And this was a sting operation from the counter-terrorism. We were already in the spot at that time, imagine. So the thing is, these people made a lot of harm to France community. Because as you know, hacking groups and hacking community are like little island, volcanic island, creating themselves, emerging, and then starting to appear and to go to very interesting high levels. So by doing that, the whole notion of community in France was destroyed. Also, the problem was a confidence problem was created, a trust problem between all the international community of hackers and whatever would happen in France. Because I must make an homage or pay respect to Stefan Wernery, was also jailed by French services for 6 months. He was one of the very active chaos member in the 1980s, and because French services didn't understand anything, he got jailed. So this was the legacy we had to deal with, and actually it's a bit serious and not very pleasing success, but that's something to be reminded. The biggest success that we had and we've done is changing in people's mind the image of a hacker who is supposedly a criminal, a guy who is not responsible, into someone who does creative things with technology. And that is, I think, our biggest success.
Jake?
Now,
Yeah. Jake? So, a success story from Noisebridge.
should I say failure?
Oh, if you
Because failure, we just have only failures. It's chaos. So here is the Chaos Computer Club, but what we do in TempLab is, oh, what about an organization? Yeah, we don't want to make a startup, we don't want to buid a cathedral, we don't want this, and it's complete chaos. People come in, do things, and we never succeeded to fix the tidying up. So there's crap everywhere. And we keep on saying, hey, why do I have to deal with someone else's crap? So one thing that Mitch told me that was great is that you have to be excellent to someone. That's what you do in Noisebridge. Well, in TempLab, it's completely chaos, quite the opposite. It's you have to have very tight relationship in TempLab, because otherwise you wouldn't bear the quantity of crap that we have to bear and put up with. We had to deal with rats. We had to deal with a chemical factory producing fumes that are very bad for your health. Actually, it's Sanofi Aventis, and these people are following the pharmaceutical mantra, which is very interesting. Make people die locally so that you can cure globally. And we keep on getting this. So failures and failures.
That's hard to follow up. So Noisebridge tried to follow the hackerspace design patterns pretty well. I think almost to the letter in some regards. We don't have people that live there. I mean, we did find some people who lived there, but they left because we asked them to. They were kind of members, sort of. But we had a couple failures. One, the very first failures we had was the key problem, which is that we had a single Tumblr lock, and 5 people signed the lease, and these 5 people didn't talk before signing the lease, really, because we just found the space and we decided to just jump on it. We decided it was the time. And the problem was that each of those 5 people had a different expectation, and it created an issue with property rights. And it turned into kind of a big disaster because we didn't have insurance. And one of the key holders felt very strongly about this, and a lot of the, like I would say, maybe 2.5 of the key holders felt strongly in a different direction, which put us in a really weird space because we're all legally equal in our liability, but without insurance, we were all really very concerned. And so it turns out the membership solved this on their own. They just copied the keys and they picked the lock. So that solved the key problem pretty much. And when we pointed out that there was no point in changing the lock because it was a bunch of hackers that specialize in things like lock picking, that it was just like not worth changing it. It was at that point that basically everyone was persuaded that, yep, there's a lot of liability, and if anyone wants to back out, they can do so. We'll try to get insurance real soon now. And eventually we did get insurance, which worked out pretty well. And it was great because that was an example of almost sort of trying to solve a problem before it really occurred, because it didn't matter if a key holder was there. If someone fell off a ladder and broke their neck, like, we were all screwed. I mean, there was no question about that. But we just decided that, like, you know, hopefully no one would do that. And if they did, well, that would be the end of that. And we'd start a new organization, No Neck Breaking Bridge or something. we had another strange failure, which was real quick, which was basically anonymous membership, which is that we want to preserve the right for people to be members without, affiliating themselves publicly with this, because maybe they work in some organization that would not take kindly to hackers, because it doesn't matter how much we whitewash this with CI